What's up, friend? Welcome back to my channel. I've got a bone to pick with you. I feel like I've been picking a lot of bones lately, but you leave me no choice. In the words of SZA, your fear of looking stupid is holding you back. It's holding you back from a life that you can't even fathom right now, okay? And this needs to stop. This fear kept my confidence and ambition low for years, but I feel like I've finally gotten to a point where I don't care if I look stupid, okay? I'm just doing my thing, I'm just vibing. And as a result, I'm happy, I feel free. I'm going for the life that I want in a way that I never have before. It's just working, and I say this all the time on my channel, but I truly believe that we are our own biggest op. Once we stop the op behavior, things start to pop off. And I promise you, when you reach that point, you're gonna be like, oh my God, why didn't I stop caring about looking stupid earlier? So let's just get into it, okay? I wanna tell you how I got over my fear of being seen and my fear of looking stupid in hopes that you will close that snark subreddit in your mind and truly thrive. Step 1, accept that not everyone's gonna like you. The same way that not everybody likes kiwi or eggs or the color green. There is nothing wrong with not being loved by every single person who comes across you and sees what you're doing. If you're not harming anyone, vibe on. But this can be a really tough pill to swallow, especially if you have a people-pleasing mentality. And as a result of that mentality, you might be hiding your true ambitions and who you truly are because you're afraid that the people you're trying to please aren't gonna like it. And once you get caught up into that cycle, it is vicious. You do something that doesn't align with what you want, the people you're trying to please like it even though you don't, and then you have to keep up the ruse in order to continue being liked. I'm telling you, when you do that, you get buried. I feel like the lighting is getting weird. Bear with me. The sad truth is that you're never gonna be able to please everyone. You're never gonna be able to make every single person happy. Perpetually trying to be liked is like playing the slots. You might win that first $5, but I promise you, if you stay there and keep trying long enough, you're gonna be in the hole like 5 grand. You know how I know this? Because there are 1 billion people on this planet, and we are all different. We all like different things, and yes, maybe sometimes there is that one thing that a lot of us like, but it's just such a silly idea to think that you're ever gonna be able to be universally loved, or that like everyone on the planet is going to appreciate you and what you bring to the table. Instead of focusing on contact with the people who don't like you and don't like what you're doing, try focusing on reaching the people who do. For example, I clearly am someone who posts videos on the internet, and my content is pretty specific, right? On here, I post a lot about manifesting, goal setting, self-improvement. On TikTok, I get into like reality TV and pop culture stuff. My point is that I'm not exactly posting things that you would assume are universally liked, like a video of a puppy going through a field, although there would be some people who don't like puppies and would comment negatively about that, but let me keep going. By virtue of being online and posting content, you have to become okay with the idea that your content is sometimes gonna make it to people who don't like manifesting, who think reality TV is stupid, who don't keep up with pop culture, who don't care about that kind of stuff. And while I can hope that that doesn't happen, at some point it's just inevitable. But instead of avoiding pressing the publish button because I'm afraid it's gonna end up in anti-woo-woo Joe's recommendations, I press the publish button in hopes that it makes it to you. My focus with this channel isn't finding people who are anti-manifestation and trying to like convince them that it's a good idea. My focus is finding people who want more, and maybe the methods that they've tried to overcome struggles in their life haven't worked, so they're looking to try something else. My focus is on finding people who are into manifesting and the law of attraction, but maybe, I don't know, they want a personal example of something, or they want new advice that they might not have heard before, a different perspective. Because let's be real, a lot of us don't have people in our real life who are into this kind of stuff. You can't put your actions in the hands of people who don't get you. You have to take control of your life and do what makes you happy in hopes of reaching people who get it. There is no way around the fact that not everyone's gonna vibe with you. There's no way, it's inevitable, it's gonna happen. I'm sorry if you were expecting anything different. I'm sure there are people that you don't vibe with even though they technically aren't doing anything wrong. They're just not your cup of tea. That's just life. There are a lot of us and we're all different. Friend, focus on yourself. Focus on the people who get you. And if your content or your work reaches someone who doesn't, that's okay. That's all part of it. You know what else is part of it? Failing miserably, often. I think that this age that we're in of social media is making us forget that everyone's gotta start somewhere. You scroll through TikTok or Instagram and you just see a bunch of people with money and material possessions and success. What you don't see is them crying because they didn't read the fine print on their first contract and now they gave away the rights to all of their content. You don't see them racking up credit card debt to start their business. You don't see this stuff because on a very basic level, it's very hard to pick up a camera and film yourself when you're having a mental breakdown. breakdown, also NDAs and stuff like that. But everyone who has success will tell you they failed their way to the top. And the reason why this happens is because sometimes we just gotta learn the hard way. When you learn the hard way, the lessons are gonna soak in so much more deeply. Sometimes it takes rear-ending someone to learn that you shouldn't be on your phone while you're driving. Please don't be on your phone while you're driving. Sometimes it takes getting caught up in a massive downpour to learn that, maybe I should check the weather before I go out, maybe buy an umbrella. And I say this as someone who does not own an umbrella, and I've been caught up a time or two. Much like not being universally liked, failure is an integral part of any success story. I also think that for a lot of us, the fear of failure is more about being seen failing than just failing on its own. Like, people are out here afraid of being a content creator because they don't want their friends from high school to see them trying to post and getting 300 views on their videos. People are afraid of opening that boutique and having their friends and family drive by and see the clearance sign. And I understand this, okay? As someone who has struggled with anxiety my entire life, I definitely have a tendency to look at the glass half empty before it's even poured. My mind has almost been programmed to say, okay, this isn't gonna work out, let's prepare for the disappointment, instead of, oh my gosh, this could really work out, I'm excited for the success. What's gotten me to the point of not caring about failure anymore is the understanding that true failure only happens when you stop. When you decide to stop trying, when you quit, your internal op has won. The snark subreddit in your brain is popping off. It has 1 million followers, subscribers. I don't know, they're typing away in there is my point. As long as you are dedicated to your craft, you're learning, you're growing, you're getting better, you're trying, you are winning. And this is even if it's messy, if it's moderately embarrassing, or if it's difficult. Great things take time and skill building. They require learning, right? You're not gonna be at the top of your game with the same knowledge that you have today. It's gonna take time. You're gonna learn stuff along the way. The person you are with success is not the same person as you are when you start. So instead of catastrophizing, start living as your future self. Live as your future self who has experienced the lows and come out on the other side. Live as your confident and persistent self who didn't give up and is so freaking grateful that they didn't. This is a concept that's very commonly discussed in the manifesting world, and it's called living in the end. When you live in the end, right, as in living in the time where you got what you want, where you're successful, you've accomplished this goal, the little failures aren't gonna matter as much because you just know that those are necessary stepping stones to get you to where you need to be. They're stepping stones, they're not gonna break you. So don't be afraid to fuck it up in order to ultimately fuck it up. You know what I'm saying? I think that a lot of the fear of looking stupid also just comes from self-doubt. We don't think we're special or deserving enough of success. We don't think that we have what it takes to make it. And this is a self-fulfilling prophecy because if you see yourself as someone who is typical, dull, boring, you're gonna put out energy of a typical, dull, and boring person. And if we know anything about the law of attraction, right, the basis is that the energy that you put out is the energy that you get back. You gotta be the main character because acting like the main character is what's gonna lead you to being the main character. But Bria, I wanna be a model, but there truly is nothing interesting about me. There's nothing that's gonna make me stand out. You know what? You're right. There is nothing interesting about you. There is nothing that's gonna make you stand out. I'm not even gonna argue with you. I don't know you personally, so I'm just gonna take your word for it. And you know who else is gonna take your word for it? Everyone. You're trying to be a model? Okay. The casting directors, they're gonna take your word for it. The agencies, they're gonna take your word for it. The brands, they're gonna take your word for it. Why wouldn't we believe the words that are coming out of your mouth about yourself? You are who you say you are. Okay, you are who you act like you are. One of the best things that you can do to ensure that you make it is to be your authentic self, to do what makes you happy, and to own it. And that includes removing the word aspiring from your vocabulary. Stop doing that. That's all coming from a place of self-doubt and the fear of looking stupid. You've got to Bader Meinhof yourself into seeing your redeeming qualities, into seeing your talents, your skills. And if that means you got to pull out your journal and make a list of all the things that make you special, you should do that. If that means looking in the mirror every day and saying your affirmations and saying what you love about yourself, do that. Talk to yourself in the shower. Talk to yourself in the car. Do what you gotta do, but you gotta start believing what is true, which is that you are a unique person. you bring something to the table, you bring unique talent, skills, personality, looks, whatever you are trying to accomplish, it's going to happen by virtue of you being you. Does that make sense? Is it clicking? You gotta get to the place where you believe in yourself and you know that crazy shit is possible. You will only wish that you put yourself out there authentically sooner, I guarantee it. The best time to have done this was 2, 3, 5 years ago, okay? The second best time was yesterday. The third best time is right freaking now. You are capable of wild things. I'm telling you, stuff you can't even freaking imagine. You don't even know what the full picture looks like. All you have to do is believe in yourself and your abilities enough that you feel like, okay, you know what? I'm ready to start putting in the work and going for it. I'm not a scientist or anything, but I firmly believe that humans have evolved to not want to be perceived. I don't know, I feel like back in the caveman days, being perceived could be a threat to your life. Your goal was to be accepted by your tribe and to not be seen by any potential enemies or threats. And you know what? This made the difference between life and death, so it makes sense that it's still happening innately in you today. Don't get down on yourself for your instinct telling you, okay, I gotta make myself small, I gotta fit in, I gotta do what everybody else is doing. Just understand that you're not being chased by tigers anymore. You're having random people comment on your video, and your body's visceral response to those two things might feel similar, but you're not in any grave danger. Unless you speak out on Nicki Minaj and start getting death threats, I don't know about all that, but for the most part, I feel like we're good. When you move people's expectations of you to the back and you move your authenticity and your drive to the front, you're gonna notice changes. When you forget this fear of failing and accept lesson learning, you're gonna see some changes. And change is a very good thing when you're living a life that you're not happy in and you don't feel fulfilled. Okay? Embrace the cringe, embrace the change, embrace the unknown. You'll be okay. You'll make it. I'll see you in my video next weekend.